Hi, guys. Thank you for tuning in. You're watching Jen's on the Reel, and I'm Jen.
And I'm Jen.
And today we're going to talk about commitment. Are you afraid of commitment?
A little bit.
A little bit? Well, there's commitment issues on so many levels.
Yes, there are. It's not just what you think. Right. There's lots of commitment, which we see that a lot in our line of work. You know, do I buy the house? Do I not buy the house?
Yes.
Do I want to commit to that monthly payment?
Is it the right time? Do I want that interest rate?
Yeah.
There's so many levels.
What if the market changes? What if this? So many doubts. And I think that's in any type of commitment, whether it's relationship, whether it's home buying, whether it's having children. I know that's a big one.
That's a big one. Or having a pet.
Or having a pet. That one's easy for me.
You're like, yeah, no.
But yeah, having children, because people always like, oh, I'm not ready. I have to wait to be ready. Newsflash, you're never ready.
Well, I think you have different types of people. You have the one really afraid of commitment, and you have the ones that are not afraid of commitment, that commit to everything, but fall short at the same time because it's too much, So
that reminds me of my dating life. When I
you
used to
weren't really
date.
as committed, though. You were just, you were committed to the good times.
I was. It was fun.
Yeah. From what I remember, anyway. So far, you've been pretty committed.
I have. I've been pretty committed.
How long has it been now?
So Marcel and I have been together 6 years.
6 years.
Seems like just yesterday, right? 6 years fly.
Yes and no. I think, I'm actually, personally, I'm really happy that you found somebody and that you've been with him this long.
Yes, he's amazing.
And he's...
Shout out to you, babe.
Yeah. and with regards to commitment, he's definitely shown a lot of it,
Yes, he wants to get married.
How do you feel?
Well, that's a big commitment. The way I see it is it's a lot of paperwork, Like I work in paper, I'm in title, so I'm always working with paper. And then I was married once, and it was a whole mission of getting divorced, and I just hate missions.
Yeah.
Well,
there's the potential of a mission.
Yeah, but he's pretty much has me convinced. So
that he's not going anywhere?
Yeah, I think we're going to take the plunge.
Okay, that's exciting. Yeah. I hope you do. Yeah. I hope you do.
It's in the works. We'll see.
Personally, I'm not technically afraid of commitment. I think when I make the commitment, it is because I've thought about it enough, and I'm not afraid of the risk and the chances of it. Like, it is what it is. Like, you got to think about, there's a possibility, but also not focus on the possibility, right?
My thing is I'm a Libra.
So you weigh out.
So I weigh out all my options. Like, we went to go see a house yesterday that we're thinking of buying. Okay. And because we live currently in a townhouse and we have a boat and we want a house so we can park the boat. And we've gone to see a few houses because I think it's actually a great time to buy because things are like really negotiable. You see the houses going down a little bit. Yes. Actually correcting itself because they were overpriced. So we did go see a house, and it's been we went to see it 2 times actually.
Okay, so you really like this house.
So we pretty much like this house. And I go in there to see if it feels homey, because I'm all about feelings. But then my brain kicks in, and then, numbers, mortgage payment, this, that. So yes, you start weighing out everything, and then, I even started thinking of, but can I add to the house? If I can add to the house, how am I going to add more value later on? Like, my real estate brain turns on.
Well, so apparently you have a situation with thinking about the initial commitment, but also thinking past the commitment. Like, what else is there?
Well, yes, because not for my relationship. But for stuff like that has to do with like money and stuff, especially real estate. I love investing. I try to look to the future, and I don't get attached. Yeah. Like him, we go see houses, and it's like, you're toying with my heart. Oh, you know what I mean? Because we like this. And yes, and I don't get attached to material stuff.
See, I think a home can do both, obviously. I think the thinking about expansion is in its way also a form of attachment. It's kind of like, what else can I do in order to accommodate whatever my future brings, right? When we went to look at our home specifically, I remember walking in there, and I had seen what was the original master bedroom, but at that point I thought it was the only master bedroom, and I was so disappointed when I saw that. And then the listing agent mentioned there's another room that was the master. It was like in a separate section. Yeah, it's upstairs. And then I looked around with like my eyes opened up more to this home, and it was like that was it.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. It was like a feeling.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. At first it was negative, but then it kind of like converted too. But
right, that's what I'm saying. Like I've always, it's funny because every time I've bought a house that I'm gonna live in, that's gonna be for me to live in, I've walked in and I'm like, this is my house.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't like not get that feeling for the house, but it wasn't like, oh my God, this is my house. I don't know if it was the furniture was off because it's furnished, you know what I mean? So I'm like stuck seeing that furniture. And so I've been trying to picture my furniture in there and what would I do? And do I really want this? And because at this point, it is a good time to buy because I'm going to get a deal.
Yes.
But again, nobody has a crystal ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's in a great neighborhood. So,
yeah, I mean, listen, you're going to pay for something anyway. Like if you guys are trying to be in a bigger home, you're either going to purchase a rental and pay for somebody else's mortgage or do your own, right? Which essentially you build. And it takes time. And then, you build, a profit or you get some of your money back or whatever the case may be.
Right, because some commitments can be short-term commitments. Yeah. Like that's what I told my stepson. Because he's in a position that maybe he could buy. And I'm like, he's like, oh, but I want this. I'm like, okay, but right now, you just buy what you can, not what you want. Because at least you'll be building equity. Correct. And in 5 years or whatever, then you can sell or whatever, refi, and buy what you want.
Well, I mean, there's always a starting point to something, right? So it's like, I want to be a doctor, but, you got to be a resident first, and you got to go through this education. So it's like
which might not be the fun part.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you want to be a manager, you want to have a team as a real estate agent, same thing. Like, you have to go through the beginning process.
You have to go through the motions and commit to it long term, 100%. Especially if you're going to be a doctor.
Yeah, that's a long one. Both my girls want to be a doctor.
But yeah, like the houses, relationships, I think everything you weigh out your options because it's like, if marriage, for instance, I know people get divorced, that's fine. It's not like, oh my God, it's permanent. Yeah. I get it. But it's supposed to be a permanent thing.
Well, the intention. I think a lot of people lose the thought process of what it actually is. And it's in your heart. The intention is supposed to be permanent. Yes. Could a lot of bad things happen? Of course. Could you buy a house and lose all your money? Of course. Can you buy a car and get into an accident later? Of course. But at the same time, it's in the intention that really makes sense. And then what comes afterwards, it's God's will. Really, like there's really no control. You can control so much, but there's the outcome later on would be something different. But if the intentions are right and you have the right purpose and you focus on that, whether it is to purchase a home or to get married, especially getting married, when you choose that one person that is your best friend, that is doing everything with you, that you choose to do life with, the intention has to be right. It has to be because you are willing to go through everything with that one person, because you're not willing to go and start all over again with somebody else and hope that it's going to work out. You're already making it work right now. There's always ups and downs, right? And
but I don't think people think about the down. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when things are down, that's when they jump ship.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. That's not really. Sometimes you have to work.
And sometimes you have to jump ship.
Right. Well,
some things are not.
Some things are there's non-negotiables.
Yeah, exactly.
Or deal breakers, whether a house or a husband.
100%. 100%.
There's always going to be that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I feel
at least try.
Yeah, but I feel that's what happens in my head. The Libra of me, my Libra-ness kicks in.
But then you have the what if. What if you don't? What if?
Right. The worst thing is a shoulda, coulda, woulda. I always say that. There's nothing worse in life than shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. I tell my kids, you do everything possible until you know for sure that there's no what if, because you will regret a what if.
I know I've regretted buying a couple houses.
Yeah. As in, what if I would have purchased that property? Oh, no way.
Yes, it was one in 2020 that I still think about. I'm like, damn it, I should have bought that house.
You see?
I would have rented it out.
Sometimes you just have to commit.
Yeah, you have to commit. And I did think about it because I'm like, I could have rented out the house, maybe not moved it because it was in Fort Lauderdale and I wasn't ready to move to Broward. But you know what I mean? I could have bought the house. Yeah. I would have had equity right now. This was 5 years ago. Yeah. And did I mention it was on the water?
And 5 years ago.
I still think about
5 years ago, value now completely different.
I still think
you don't have a crystal ball.
I know.
So who predicted COVID? Nobody.
Nobody. That's why sometimes you just got to pull the trigger.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just, if it makes sense, it makes sense, right? Right now, I'm in a conundrum of the alternative of committing to selling. Like, it's like, do I sell the home or not?
That's what you guys are thinking of doing now.
Yes. But at the same time, we're, it's like, it's our home, and we love it. And it's very unique in
it is
a
a nice
specific
piece of
area.
property.
So it's like, do we let go of this? Yes, the markets may or may not make a shift, but do we take a chance at it and just stick it through, right? Put our vows into this home, and then
you have equity in that house too.
We do, and so it's like, even if it goes down, we'll still have some, but then it'll go right back up.
Yeah, because with real estate, like I tell people, even when things go down, they still go into an up motion.
100%.
Yeah, you just gotta real estate is a long-term investment, not supposed to be a short-term. So it's a relationship. And so is having children, by the way.
Yes.
Having children is the longest commitment of your life.
I know you guys are having a lot of fun, but we have to mention our sponsors. Our sponsors for this show are the Curse Team and New World Title, and we deliver results on everything real estate.
Because right when you think you're done, you're not.
No, then they have
Because I see it with my mom. I see it with my mom.
What do you see?
Like my brother now is with my mom, and she's just like, that's it, I'm done. And now he's trying to move out.
Okay.
Because he lived with her for a while. My grandmother passed away, whatever. But I'm just like, yeah, they come back.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as a parent, you want to have them near you sometimes,
I do.
Depending on how much stress or no stress they give you, But at an older age, you would hope that they are still working. Like things happen that they're still doing their things to try to get it together. They're not. So not the same pressures when they're little. Where, we were just talking to Lewis, who doesn't want to be mentioned sometimes, he's talking about how he's tired and his son really, really wants him all the time. So he had been up all night.
He has papitis. Papitis. And that's the translation.
Yeah.
Of papitis.
Yeah. And, so right now he's in a position where it's like his son really needs him in a moment of weakness. And later on, you'll get older and then he might just not. He'll need his wife. Yeah. So it's like, okay, with kids, you have that commitment of having them and taking care of them. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there's a part of it, yes, it's hard, but it's so beautiful to see it through because they can't live without you. Or sometimes you just gotta shove
them out of the nest. That's how I feel sometimes. You gotta shove them out.
Yep.
And that is also a commitment.
And that is a hard decision.
It is.
It's a very hard decision. Like, when do you do that?
I feel like nowadays, it's a little harder because it's not like things are more expensive. So it's not like they come out of college. For instance, my stepson, he came out of college. He has a good job, but he doesn't really make like, oh my God, so much money that he can afford.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely. All the time.
I feel like they're very comfortable because we've made life really comfortable.
You have to make them uncomfortable.
But there's other options. Like nowadays, there's actually apps where you find roommates.
Well, so that's what I told them. Get a two-bedroom.
You're not married, but find a roommate. There's actually rental units near FIU that are specific to that.
Oh yeah, he used to live in one of those because he was going to FIU.
You see, where you just rent the apartment, but you can. It's like multiple people can actually rent with you with the same unit. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have responsibility, it's not a big deal. You got a bedroom and you got a kitchen, and then
that's all you need.
You figure it out. But where there's a will, there's a way.
I believe that 100% because it's doable. Mm-hmm. Now, it might not be exactly what you want at that moment, but you have to improvise. Sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself a little bit. You got to take a step back to take two forward.
Yep. Well, and back then we didn't have the same opportunities, I feel, as well, even though things were less expensive. At what age did you leave your home?
Well, I feel like I got kicked out of the nest because my mom decided to move to Vero Beach, and there was no way in hell I was going to move over there because Vero Beach now is low. You should have seen it like 30 years ago. Like, it was like, no.
No, yeah. It was it's like a deserted.
So my mom left, and I did move in. My grandmother had an efficiency, and I did move in with my grandmother, but I had to pay the efficiency rent, which back then it was like $550, which it wasn't like it's not like she gave me a discount. That wasn't a discounted rate. That's what it was. And then when my boyfriend moved in, because it was an efficiency, but it was mostly like a 1-bedroom little apartment. So it was big. So my boyfriend moved in and she raised my rent.
That happened to me.
And I was like, abuela. And she's like, well, now there's 2 of you, double water, double light. And I'm like, so she raised my rent. And I was maybe like 24, 25. And then I ended up I had a job at one point, and they had a 401k, and they sent me back the money. I don't know what happened. I guess I was supposed to move it. I didn't know what I was really young. I got the money, and I remember it was like over $10,000, and I bought my first house with that.
Okay, nice.
I was like, I'm going to buy a house, because when is the next time I'm going to have a full 10 grand?
Yeah,
I thought to myself, I think I was like 25.
Wow, that's a smart move.
So I put it in a house, and that's when I bought my first house. But if it wouldn't have, I start to think back, if it wouldn't have been
that push,
for that
pain.
401k would have been able to buy the house, how long would it have taken me to save money?
Yeah, I see.
You know what I mean? My mom, not leaving me, because she didn't leave me, but yes, she left me, you know, because she didn't leave my brother and sister behind.
Or you decided to stay.
Yeah, I decided to stay because there was no way in hell. But even though she said she wasn't leaving without my brother.
Okay.
Well, now look, she's got him.
she's got him now still.
Yeah. So, but I feel that was good. The fact that you could, you know.
Do that.
And the way she did it, it's like, hey, I'm leaving. You want to come? No? Okay, well, it's on you. Mm-hmm, you know what I mean?
I feel like
that's kind of running away from home. I feel like doing that sometimes. I'm not going to lie. All the time.
I left at 19, and my story is a little weird. And I thank God my kids don't follow this path. You know, I decided to date somebody that was 10 years older than me back then as well. And back then he didn't really have a lot going on for him. He was living with his mom, and he had purchased tickets for us to go.
Red flag.
Yeah. Listen, I was 18, 19 years old. Okay. I didn't know what a red flag was. Okay. So anyway, I remember, he had purchased tickets to go to Jacksonville. I was like, my parents are never going to let me go to Jacksonville. So at that time I was going to FIU. So I packed my car, left my car with all my stuff in FIU parking lot, and then left to Jacksonville. And then when I came back, I ended up staying with him and his mom. And she did the same thing. She charged us, it was $400 for him, for the room, for one room. And then when I moved in, it was an extra $400. And I was like, we're paying $800 and something for this place.
And it was a room.
Yeah, and it was a bedroom. And I was like, we're leaving. I told him, we're leaving. And and back then the apartments, the 1-bedrooms were like $800, $900 a month. So
that made total sense.
Yeah, so I was like, screw it, we're leaving. You know, and that's how my independence, I guess, started. And you know, you go through your trials and tribulations. It wasn't easy, but again, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, I always had, speaking of commitment, I always had home base. So before my mom left to Vero Beach, I had a boyfriend and I lived with him in his mom's house with him, but he was the one pretty much paying everything. And I was literally living there, but all my stuff was at my house. And he would tell me, even when I had the efficiency, because then after that I moved to the efficiency, I was still with this guy. And he's like, well, you don't need to pay rent for the efficiency. And I was like, no way, I need like a home base. Like, what if I get into a fight with him?
Yeah.
Or something? I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to commit to being in his house like all the time.
Yeah.
So I always needed a home base. So he'd be like, bring all your clothes. I would be like, nope.
Oh my gosh, how funny. No, I was running away. I was like, because I was so restricted, forget it. You know,
I think that happens when you get when your parents restrict you too much. You tend to go. My parents tried to restrict me, but I'm not gonna lie, I was a very good negotiator. I would negotiate my way out of everything. I would sneak in.
This is why you're such a great salesperson.
And I would literally pretend I was home with the covers on.
Oh my gosh, no.
And she would check on me because she would fall asleep.
No way. I had a moment like that.
You snooze, you lose, people.
And they figured out that I wasn't home and they went out looking for me. Like it was like a whole thing. Like listen, my childhood was a little wild. I was a great student, but I was a little, you know, I just did whatever I wanted, but they just didn't know. So we figured it out, you know. And on the topic of commitment, I wanted to touch on just one last thing. Was a customer that I have that came from California, and they didn't want to purchase right now. They wanted to purchase in January because really they didn't have any rush. They just wanted to look at a property right now. But when the right home and the right opportunity presents itself, you jump. And if I have to give anybody an advice, it's if it feels right. Even if there is some risk or whatever, can you figure this out? Then you just jump on it. And they did. And they have a wonderful home. They're about to move into that home in a few weeks. We're about to close on that property. And it's all worked out wonderfully. And I think, with anything, just take a chance, right? If it doesn't scare you, it's not worth it.
Well, that's what they say. If it doesn't scare you, it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And I think that goes with everything, but always do your due diligence.
100%. Yes, for sure.
Always do your due diligence. Whether it's marriage.
There goes her Libra trying to.
Whether it's marriage, a house, a car, you know. Kids sometimes surprise you.
You're kind of stuck there. Though.
But you never regret having a child.
Yeah, no.
At least I don't think.
No, yeah, I don't know. Some might. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We do appreciate you watching our show. Please comment on whether or not you have an issue with commitment or purchasing a home right now or whatever the case may be. Let us know what's going on in your life, and we're happy to comment as well and
give you our input.
100%. Jen, this was fun. Today was
It's been real.
Yeah. It has been definitely real. You guys have learned a lot about us. Thanks again. Tune in next week on Thursday at 8 a.m. And make sure you subscribe. And don't forget, the Jens, we're here for you guys in everything real estate. We give you results. And we look forward to bringing you more content next week.
Give us a like.